What's going on, guys? MurphsYT13 here, and we are back with another episode, WWE Match of the Week, and my Raw review. This week's Raw review is going to be a positive one because this was a great show, good go-home show as we build towards SummerSlam. I think this is going to be an epic pay-per-view. 4 hours, I think Triple H said 9 matches. That was before Ziggler and Rusev was named, so I think we've got 10 matches over 4 hours. Speaking of Triple H, we opened the show with an authority promo. I thought this was really boring. It was a horrible way to start the show. It didn't give you a good feel at all. They blabbed on about a whole matter of things, all of it pointless because it's everything that we already knew. They announced a few matches and whatever. It's not even worth talking about. Randy Orton's music hit. Orton's entrance led to Orton and Cesaro versus Kevin Owens and Sheamus. This is a really cool match. I really like all of these guys at the moment, even Sheamus. Sheamus is sort of turning me around a little bit because he is just embracing his role so much. There was a weird sort of ending to this match. The match overall was really solid. I really enjoyed it. And Cesaro is super over. The Cesaro section signs are fantastic. There was a nasty sort of botch at the end where Cesaro almost hung himself on the ropes, but it still looked awesome. Everybody was on the internet saying that Randy Orton would be pissed off at Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens botched an RKO spot. Let me tell you one thing, Kevin Owens didn't botch that spot. Randy Orton botched it because Kevin Owens was never meant to get RKO'd. Kevin Owens was always meant to push Randy Orton into Sheamus for the RKO, and then Cesaro was gonna tackle Owens out of the ring for the win. And I've noticed a little bit with Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, they tend to be very awkward around each other. I don't know whether they don't get along or whatever, but their chemistry is way down as far as I'm concerned. It was interesting to see Sheamus drop the match because he very, very rarely gets pinned, and perhaps suggesting that he might leave SummerSlam with his arm raised in victory over Randy Orton, I would suggest. We then moved on to the next match, which was Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper. Really cool, solid match. Luke Harper's fantastic in ring. Roman Reigns is really putting together a nice body of work now, I think, and he's starting to get over naturally with the fans because he's not been thrust into the spotlight, and people are starting to accept him for the cool sort of cool babyface, the guy who just whips ass, and I think that's really smart of the WWE. It was a really, really entertaining match, and Ambrose on commentary, absolutely fantastic. The guy needs to be taken more seriously, and I'm glad they're putting him in a position that he can shine, where he can talk, because he's a great talker. Harper, I thought it was strange that he lost so decisively, because I would think you would be building him as a threat, but now he looks like a guy that Roman Reigns can just beat anytime he wants. So it was strange the way it ended. I was expecting a kerfuffle. I'm sort of glad we didn't get that, but I would have liked to have seen a less decisive win heading in to maybe plant a little bit of seed of doubt. After that, we got Becky Lynch versus Tamina. This match was okay. I really don't like Tamina. Tamina's really, really bad. And I don't like saying that because I don't like getting on people, because I'm not a wrestler. So I don't know shit about in-ring work. I don't know anything. I just know what I've seen over the last 15 or so years of watching wrestling, that she is bad. I'm not claiming that I could do better. I'm not claiming that anybody else could do better. I'm just saying that Tamina was bad, and Becky Lynch getting the win here made sense. That made the girls look really strong. This match that's coming up at SummerSlam, who knows where it's going to go, and really, who cares? If you want a revolution, you need to do a little bit more than just these random pairings of girls versus each other in this pretty much exact same spot on Raw every week. So after that, we got Mark Henry versus Rusev, and we got the return of Dolph Z. I thought this was pretty cool. Lana on commentary, and you know, another defeat for Mark Henry at the hands of Rusev. A little bit more offense for Mark Henry. The whole match was fine, whatever, but it was all about Ziggler returning, and Lana slapped Summer Rae. I thought that was cool. It got a huge pop. Lana's super over in certain cities. But it was really cool. It was a pretty cool spot. And then eventually she called Rusev into the ring, and then she kept sort of looking over Rusev's shoulder with a smile on her face. Ziggler's music hits. He comes down to a huge ovation. It was fantastic. I love Dolph Ziggler. I got the little spine tingles when he came out because I love a good return. I love a big return, and Ziggler does it better than anyone as far as I'm concerned. He ran down. I'm disappointed he's still got the 80s jacket. But he came down. It was energetic. It was fun. And Lana hit, I don't know what you would call it. It was like a jumping bicycle kick sort of thing, and knocked out Summer Rae, and then a beautiful super kick from Dolph Ziggler. I reckon that should be made his finishing move. Forget the zigzag. I think you should pass on the super kick to Dolph Ziggler. There's very few people who throw a better one. Maybe Tyler Breeze has him with the supermodel kick, but I really like this segment. I thought it was great. It's good to have Dolph back, and I reckon that it's a bit of a sleeper for match of the night. Ziggler versus Rusev. They are able to tell a good story. After that, we had Ryback versus The Miz. Now, who cares about this? Is the Big Show face? Is the Big Show heel? I don't care. I don't care about this match. I didn't care about the little bit afterwards. As I've said, I've been impressed with Ryback, but this didn't really serve any purpose. I think we got about 6 commercials for Big Show's movie, and this was just felt like a commercial for his movie. I'm not really interested as much as I would like to be. I would actually like to see a singles match between Big Show and Ryback more than have The Miz in there, even though The Miz has been pretty entertaining. I keep chopping and changing on this feud, but this week I don't like it. So after that, we had the John Cena Seth Rollins contract signing, and I'm sure everybody around the world was expecting a fight to break out and everything to the table to get flipped over, somebody to get put through the table, but this was the segment of the night, bar none. This was absolutely brilliant. Seth Rollins, I thought, cut a really good promo, but it paled in comparison to John Cena's. John Cena was on fire here. There was a couple of little slips in there, but it doesn't matter. As I say, I'm not a professional wrestler. I'm no expert, but John Cena was on fire. I'm really excited for this match now. It's funny, when Cena doesn't pander to the crowd and he isn't trying to use bad comedy, he is super entertaining, and it was unbelievable. This promo that he cut, he referred to Triple H being Ric Flair's protege, and now that Seth Rollins is Triple H's protege, that he needs to man up, he needs to show more. And I thought this was a great angle because it really brought some realism into the angle. It brought some history into the angle and the reason behind Triple H picking Seth Rollins, much like Ric Flair picked Triple H, so to speak. It never really directly happened, I don't think, but Ric Flair took Triple H under his wing, much like Triple H is taking Seth Rollins under their wing. I thought this was really smart. Seth Rollins didn't get a retort, which sort of made him look a little bit silly, and he got served, but I think that sort of worked because there's no way you could say anything that would make it better with Cena. This was absolutely brilliant, and I think without having a fight, that's the best way that you could have done it. And I'm really excited for the match now. Cena said Ric Flair, Triple H was never Ric Flair's bitch, but on Sunday I'm going to make you mine, and that was the line of the night. It was just brilliant, and built to the match just perfectly. So it was a really good go-home segment for these two. After that, we got Primetime Players and Lucha Dragons versus New Day and Los Matadores. Complete throwaway. It's difficult to get excited for this four-way match because these guys are just stale. They're not giving them any sort of personal issues whatsoever, and the whole thing to me just feels really stale. We then moved on to what was actually the main event, technically. I was reading on Twitter people saying, oh my god, the women are main eventing Raw, the women are main eventing Raw. It really wasn't the main event. It was put just before the biggest segment of the night, arguably the face-off between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, and I thought, personally, putting the girls in this position was pretty unfair, because the crowd, all they wanted was Lesnar. Raw was in Minneapolis, and that's where Brock Lesnar's from, obviously, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Brock Lesnar hadn't shown his face yet, and for me, it was a death spot for the girls. It was just as bad as putting them on before the main event of WrestleMania or something like that. So to me, this match, it was pretty good, pretty solid. Sasha Banks got a clean win. Off a distraction, I know, but she got a clean tap-out win over Nikki Bella, which presents her as, I guess, technically the #1 contender. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. I just wish these girls would get more time on their own as opposed to always having distractions, and I don't agree with the labelling them as teams. I think everyone should be individuals, because now they've all sort of become a little bit vanilla. But after that, we got Brock Lesnar's homecoming, and this was pretty cool. Paul Heyman, just sensational again. Heyman's fantastic, and, you know, I mean, he's carrying this feud alone, in my opinion. I know the pull-apart brawl was cool, but without Paul Heyman's promos, this would mean absolutely nothing. I read somewhere that somebody said somebody should give Paul Heyman an Emmy, and I agree, man. He's just unbelievable. The most interesting part about this was The Undertaker. I think The Undertaker, whether they planned it or not, may go into SummerSlam as a heel, because he really played up the heel tactics here by kicking Brock Lesnar in the balls again, which I thought was very, very strange to do it again. And The Undertaker left after a sort of a bit of a brawl and a tombstone with his arm in the air at the end of the ramp, getting booed. So I thought that was made for a really, really interesting visual. This whole segment did its job, and you know, the WWE have done a pretty good job of clouding whether or not we're going to get The Undertaker winning or Brock Lesnar winning, because The Undertaker essentially has stood tall throughout the whole thing. So it is going to be very, very interesting to see. In my opinion, I think Brock Lesnar's winning at SummerSlam, and The Undertaker is then going to go on and get his win back as a babyface in Dallas, and he's going to go out. He's going to ride off into the sunset, and that's going to be it for the dead man. But overall, Raw was pretty good. It was a good, solid 3-hour show. Obviously, I think it went over a little bit, but overall, a really good show. I'm excited for SummerSlam. I'm going to make sure I've got a packed lunch to sit down and watch 4 hours of SummerSlam. But no, overall, guys, a really, really good Raw, and that will do my Raw review for the week. As always, I'll be back next week. If you've liked this video, make sure you drop a like. If you don't want to miss another Raw review from yours truly, MurphsYT13, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. And, as always, for MurphsYT13, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.